Grab your coffee, mama. It's time for coffee, clients, and nap time. I'm Sarah Marie, and this is your guide to building a business that works for you and your family. Here, we'll dive into creating a thriving business that lets you be the hands-on parent you want while designing the life you've always dreamed of. So if you're ready to balance business success with family life and make it all work in a way that feels right for you, then let's dive in. Hey mamas, and welcome back to Coffee, Clients and Nap Time. I'm Sarah Marie, and in today's Naptime Chat, we're talking about something that sits quietly underneath everything we do as mums in business, and that's our nervous system. Today I'm joined by Carlie Byrom, mama 3, bookkeeper, and founder of Life Brain Training, where she uses a neurofeedback system called NeurOptimal to support emotional resilience, regulation, and nervous system balance for both kids and adults. In this chat, Carlie shares how she went from a 12-hour day in TV to building a business that works around her family. The honest story of parenting a highly sensitive child with big emotions, what neurofeedback actually is in normal human words, and how it supports mums in business, and how caring for our nervous system changes the way we show up at home and in our work. So if you've been feeling like life is just a lot lately, and you're craving more calm, more capacity, and more presence, then you're going to love this episode. Hi, Carlie. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Sarah, for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. I'm so excited to hear about your story and what you're doing at the moment because it's a very interesting space. So let's start with how you became a mum in business and what that looked like for you.
Yes. So my eldest is 7. So prior to having children, my husband and I worked in television, which was long hours, over 12-hour days, like crazy. And I just knew that I couldn't sustain that and have children. So I decided to retrain. I thought, what can I do that gives me flexibility, to be around for the kids? And so I decided to retrain to do bookkeeping. So I did my certificate in bookkeeping and got a normal admin job and then ended up falling pregnant and then had my first and then sort of started my business as, doing some bookkeeping. It wasn't anything that I loved doing, but it was what it gave. It gave me the flexibility to be the mum I wanted to be. When I was a kid, my mum worked and I was always the last child picked up from after school care. And it's just not something I wanted for my children. And it's so funny now because my 7-year-old's like, my friends are going to after school care. Like, it's like, but I changed my whole life to be not to have that.
They always want what they don't have.
I know, right? So, I mean, I still think to myself, at least I've given, at least I'm following what I wanted and, giving them the opportunities that I didn't have. But what happened was I actually fell into another business, which I'm really quite passionate about. Still doing bookkeeping on the side, but I have another business which I found because through my journey of motherhood, actually, because it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And I found a system called NeurOptimal. And when I found it, I just couldn't believe that no one really knew about it. It's in 87 countries in the world. And there's probably about 60 machines in Australia. But I was searching for something and I found it and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So my life sort of shifted. I did the certification training for that and I've started a business where I now offer NeurOptimal sessions in Sydney and we do machine rentals Australia-wide. And then I also, just because, did a counselling diploma and added that onto my repertoire of what I'm offering too. So quite a mixed bag from from where I started, but I feel like I've landed where I'm meant to be.
I love that you are very open, that, you had this idea that you didn't want to be, working these long days. So you retrained, but then that wasn't quite right. So you kept looking and you kept evolving and you kept adapting and changing to find the thing that you love. Before we go much further, though, I think this might be a good point to actually explain to my listeners what this NeurOptimal, I did not say that right, NeurOptimal, what this
Yeah.
actually
No,
is that you're talking about. Because I'm sure for many of them, as you said, like when you came across it, it wasn't very widely known at all. So I'm sure they would really like just let's give them a little bit of understanding about what it is that you do and what that
yeah.
entails.
Okay, great. So yes, you were close. You were close. It's NeurOptimal, sort of like NeurOptimal, and it's a form of neurofeedback. So some people might have heard about neurofeedback, and that there's there's a type that's called a linear version where you go and you would get a brain map first, and then the practitioner goes, okay, we're going to train this area of the brain, and they put the feedback in. That's a medical version. And what I offer is a non-medical version of neurofeedback, which you come into my office or you can rent a machine, and there's 5 sensors that go on there's 2 on your head and 2 on your ears and 1 on your earlobe. And basically what it does is it scans your brain at 256 times a second. So it's a lot. And nothing's going in, nothing's going out. But what it's doing is scanning your brain for what's happening, and then it provides feedback. So the reason that's important is what it's doing is it's basically showing your brain and central nervous system a mirror, and it shows it what it's doing, which we've never had a chance to see what it's doing. And all it's doing is giving it the information. And then from there, because as humans, we always want to be better. You can see that as children, when they learn to walk, they learn and they're walking a bit wobbly and wonky and funny, and then they practice and they get better. So what it's doing is giving your brain and central nervous system the information on what it's doing, and then from there we get the chance as humans to self-regulate ourselves. I think that's sort of the most simplest way to explain it.
I mean, it makes sense to
But
me.
it's beautiful. Okay, good. Well, it's just a beautiful way to become aware of what you're doing. We've all got an optimal point of working too. None of us are working there. So it's so nice. Like I mean, I found it because I was a bit stuck in life, and I felt like I had like 20 plus years of self-development, under my tool belt, having gone and seen counselors and done different courses and things like that. But I just still felt like I was stuck. And I was seeing my psychologist at the time, and she said, try this. Like, you've got all the tools, you're just going around in circles. Like, try this. And it really helped me, it helped me to be able to use the tools that I already knew and already had to then become unstuck, I suppose. And then my husband tried it, and he had different, similar results, but for different reasons. And I should probably state, the reason I was going through such a hard time was my eldest at the time, being our first child, she had emotional resilience issues, and we were looking for help, and we were going to doctors, and everyone was saying it was normal, but it wasn't because she used to have meltdowns for like 40 plus minutes, an hour, where she'd hit herself and bruise, till she's bruised. And as a mum, you're like, but I'm supposed to be able to help her, and I couldn't help her. And it was actually really dark, place really in our life. And so, yeah, basically I thought, after I found this and it helped me, I thought, I wonder if it would help her. So we rented a system and got great results with her. And because, we were trying all the things you do, we're like teaching her how to breathe with her fingers, and you blow a candle out and punch a pillow and all that sort of stuff. But she just couldn't do it. But what we found is she did these sessions, and then she was almost able to regulate herself enough to then be able to do those things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So So yeah, long story around, and then so I found it, and then I was like, I can't believe I'd been searching for something like 2 years for something to help. We'd done behavioral courses, we'd done all these sorts of things, and really this was the only thing that helped us. And I just thought I need to tell people about it. So that's why I'm here.
It's such a great way, like from lived experience, to find such a thing that actually helped you in such a profound way, and your daughter especially, to help her be able to, stay calm, regulate those emotions, create that
Mm.
balance within herself so that she could then regulate her emotions, and for you as well to then be able to use it to help you through that time of obviously high stress for you. Can you touch on
Mm,
briefly
mm.
for me how that actually helps to regulate the stress and build this resilience? Like what is actually, just a little bit deeper, what's actually going on there that this system
Mm.
works so well
Yeah,
for that?
yeah. So look, there's a lot of science behind it, and it's all quite technical, and I won't go into that. But basically, if you think of, on a road, when you're driving down the road and you hear the rumble strips on the side of the road, like when you're out of your lane and you hear the rumble strips. So we're naturally trained as drivers. When we hear that noise, we correct our driving. So what this works and the flip side to that is if we were going to pull over because we wanted to change a tire or we needed to stop for our kids or something and we heard that noise, we would ignore the noise and we would pull over. So this works in a similar way in in that you're listening to music, or for kids we put cartoons so we can put any media through it. But for adults, you listen to music, and what's happening is there's feedback being given. So the feedback sounds like there are pauses in the music, or back in the 80s when we had a Walkman and the jack wasn't in quite properly, was a bit crackly. So that feedback, what it's doing is it's saying it to our brain and central nervous system in a language that it understands. It's saying, hey, you're about to go over there and do that. Do you want to go over there and do that? I.e., do you want to go out of your lane or do you want to come back to the present?
Okay.
Because good stuff's happening in the present. And so what happens is as we train our brain and central nervous system to come out of that fight and flight response, because we're all in that, and train our brains and central nervous system to be present and that good stuff's happening here, then everything else in our life, so the stress of having to, manage the kids' emotions or having to run your business and manage whatever's happening for your whole family as well, that all sort of starts to shift into place and you start to get into like a bit of a groove. Perfect example. So for me today, I had a lot on and I had this recording, which was important. And I had some clients and I also had some other bookkeeping stuff I had to fit in. And my 2 kids have dance rehearsal this afternoon. So I've got to get them dressed in their costumes and first costume fit. Like there's a lot, right? And I was getting ready this morning and I was thinking how once upon a time I would I'd be in tears probably with the amount that I've got, all the different spinning plates and how it all has to fit in together today. And I just noticed, but I'm not. I'm going through things methodically in my mind. Yeah, that'll work. And it wasn't as heightened. The stress and anxiety, I'm aware of it. It's not there. It's kind of over in the corner with a blanket on it.
I love that. Love that imagery. That is so like brilliant.
And so I can operate better, right? I can get through the day because it's okay.
Yeah. I think that's really important for mums, especially mums in business as well. Obviously, my audience is aimed at mums in business. So I think that's really important for us to be able to do that, like get through each moment of each day. Like life doesn't get less busy. It gets more
No.
busy, especially when you're a mum running a business. How, in your experience, does that emotional resilience then impact directly on how we show up in our businesses and how we handle these like busy moments like you just described?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's just taking moment by moment. So, whereas previous to me having done this training, I know it just all would have been too much. But I can take, like, for example, if my client had been running late today, then everything else would have had a flow on effect. She wasn't. But if she did, I also know that I just would have gone, okay, well, just like things are a bit more compartmentalized, if that makes sense. And I think that's the emotional resilience, or it's that ability to pivot. So if something doesn't go, because let's face it, life doesn't go the way we plan it, right? Kids don't, get in the car on cue, or, you need to make a business phone call, but the person doesn't pick up. So that doesn't get that job. You can't tick that job off because that phone call has to happen later. But it's just about being able to pivot and bounce back, which I think is a skill, and a skill that is a good one to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Further to that, how in your experience then does caring for our nervous system ripple positively into our family life and our business life and even our outside of both those things, like where we touch the world and all that. So
Mm.
how is looking after our nervous system, creating that positive change elsewhere? Like how does that
Mm.
ripple out and how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think it's important, if we don't look after ourselves, how can we look after our clients? How can we serve them best? How can we show up and be them, really the mums we want to be? Because let's face it, we're doing this because we wanted to be mums. You know, we want to be the best we can be for our family. We're also in our businesses because we want to achieve something. We're not doing it for fun. Working for if we were working for fun, I don't think we would have our own business because it's hard, let's face it, right? It's a lot easier to go and get a job somewhere and turn up 9 to 5 and just do your thing. But that's not what we're doing. We're here for a reason. And so it's really important. If we don't look after ourselves, no one else is going to do that. And that's why it's important just to take just any steps. NeurOptimal is one thing. It's one thing I found that really helped me. And I will honestly say I load myself up. I always have in life. And nothing's changed. What's changed is my capacity to deal with what because I am still probably loading myself up as much, but I'm managing better. So, or maybe I might actually be loading myself up more. I don't know. If you ask my husband, he'll say probably more. But it's just taking anything. It can be anything. It can be just having a coffee in the morning, even if it's not the whole coffee, just 1 minute, just quietly to yourself, just running through the day. Or what actually is funny, might sound a bit crazy, but after after doing these sessions, and I've had the machines I've had my business coming up to 3 years. So I've had a machine at my house for, let's say, 3 years. But what I have noticed, and what I did notice after I was going somewhere to have the session, so not necessarily just doing it regularly at home, but even when I went somewhere. So I noticed trees, which sounds silly, but what that has done for me is, say I'm driving in the car and you're rushing from a business meeting to go and do school pickup or something, I can easily see a tree move and I can quickly, and it's a split second, I acknowledge that the tree's there and it's beautiful, and then that's enough that has brought me into the present and sort of out of my head for a minute. And it doesn't mean that I'm any less, because sometimes we need to be in our head to be getting things done, right? It's not that I'm not, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not that I'm not getting stuff done. It's just a different headspace. There's less clutter, more clarity, which, sorry, that has kind of gone on a bit of a tangent, but it comes back to looking after yourself. Sorry.
I think I get what you're saying. Like taking that moment, like just that moment to notice that that tree was moving in the wind gives you that moment to then gonna go, oh, all that other noise, that busyness, that craziness that's been going on in your head isn't as important as your brain's making it out to be in that moment. Like it's like that little break in the static and the noise
Yeah,
going on in your head, and it allows you to kind of go, ah, okay, and then focus on what's
yeah,
the important stuff in your head rather than all the things. So yeah, I think that's
yeah.
a beautiful way of recognizing that as well. Like our worlds are so busy as mums. Like you're a mum of three kids, you're running two businesses, you've got your bookkeeping, you've got the
Yeah.
NeurOptical, and I still can't say that, so I'm probably going to edit that out. So you're very busy. Obviously, you've got both arms going in the businesses that you're running. So having that
Mm,
moment to be able to stop all that noise is so important, I
yeah.
think.
And it's like I'm talking it's probably a split second. It's not like even a minute. It's just it's a split second where I it's almost like a pause or a breath, half a breath in, you know? It's like a okay, we're good. So I would say that to anyone just to be able to be more present, you know, in amongst when just in moments of your day, just, you know, I'm sitting at my desk now, my hands are on my desk, I'm talking to you, or like, gonna make a phone call, I'm just picking up my phone. Just, you know, just to be aware of where you are and what you're doing. And I think being that way just helps everything sort of not get out of control.
I know you're obviously very busy, and I don't like using the term busy because I think it gets thrown around a lot for mums, but you've got a lot going on. Mum of three kids, running both
Mm,
businesses, you're balancing it all. What are the ways that you build resilience then into your business routine and your daily life to allow you to hold all that without it becoming overwhelming and too much? And all those things that we can
mm,
sometimes go, why the heck have I chosen this life? Like, this is just so much that's going on.
mm. It's a really good question. I'll be honest, I do neuroptimal sessions. I do. So that's probably my go-to. I try and do a session a week, and that's because I have it here. I think if I didn't have it, I would do other stuff, but I know that it's good for me to do. So, and actually I do them while I'm working because I don't have a lot of time. It's very rare. I mean, it's better. I like sitting and doing it because then you get the nice relaxing, and I don't ever give myself the session goes for 33 minutes. So I don't, you know, no one gets 33 minutes. No one gets half an hour. Anyway, but you can do it and work. So I often put it on and work. And then I've been known because I couldn't be bothered to unhook myself. I just hit play again and I might do two sessions in a but I mean, that's sort of not great advice for someone that doesn't have the machine with them. So I think the important thing is to just have look, I write lists, which I think most people probably do these days. If you don't write a list, then maybe that is a good place to start. But the self-care, which actually is really difficult, I think, as a mum and as a business owner to do that. So I'll be honest, I probably don't do my motto. I like to go by do something nice for yourself every day, but that doesn't always happen. So we go for once a week and just trying to just be present and aware of how I'm feeling. So if things are feeling a little bit like overwhelming, just to acknowledge that and do something about it.
I think that's a really beautiful concept. I'm very curious though, these neurofeedback sessions, is it something that must be done in person? Like you've obviously got the machine, you can do them in person, or is there a way for people to access the technology remotely? Like, well, what does that look like, especially with you and working with you?
Yeah. No, so the machine is on a so the soft it's a software on a tablet. So you have to go to someone and have a session, or I do rentals. So you can rent a machine from me, or there's other people around Australia that rent machines as well. And it's literally like it's on a tablet. So you open up the tablet, you connect the sensors, which are easy to do. It was developed by two psychologists in Canada, and it was developed off the back of that medical version that I talked about earlier. But they wanted it to be accessible to everyone. So they made it they worked very hard actually to make it easy to use. So it's really easy to use. The sensors are really easy to place. And so my role, or the role of whoever, if you were to rent it from someone else, is we just touch base with you and support you along the rental journey. But the idea is, if you were to rent a system, you do X amount of sessions, or if you were to come in for a session, for sessions, you do X amount of sessions until you get that new baseline. So you're working towards, that new baseline of the, like I was saying, where the anxiety or the stress or the whatever it is doesn't feel as overwhelming as what it used to feel. And you've just got this new baseline to operate at.
Okay. Thanks for clearing that up, because I'm sure a lot of people would love to experience it, but wouldn't know how or where to go. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It does make sense, obviously, with the sensors, that you do need to do it in person and then to do a few sessions to establish your new normal almost, really, isn't it? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I first went somewhere, and I was, like I said before, I was in a pretty horrible space, but I think I probably did 10 sessions and I didn't need the 10, but I liked it. So, but everyone's different. It's beautiful. It works with your own central nervous system, obviously, and your own brain frequencies. So it's giving you it, even though it's a software, like it's working with your system, so it gives you what you need. So then if you were to rent a system and your husband was to use it, for example, he's going to get a different result to you, or your kids get different results, because it's just working uniquely with your system. So
I would love for you to share with us all how people can work with you if they do want to do some of these sessions, and also where they can, what they need to search for or look for if they do want to obviously find someone in their local area as well to work with them through. So
yeah,
do you want to drop
yeah,
all your details for us, and we'll be able to then connect through with you?
yeah, great. Thanks, Sarah. So my business name's Life Brain Training, and if you're in Sydney, I'm sort of in the northwest area of Sydney, in Grantham Farm. So I do offer my first session free, because it's, not a lot of people know what it is. And so I just say, come along and try it. The first session normally goes for an hour and a half. Normal sessions are an hour, but we do tracking tools at the start, which gives us a baseline of where we're at. And then so you can see things shifting as you do the sessions. So yeah, lifebraintraining.com.au is my website, and you can book the free session there. I also do rentals Australia-wide. So if you're not in Sydney, I can still totally support you. Check out my website. My number's on there. You can call me. I'm always up for a chat. I'll always, tell me what you're experiencing, tell me what you need help with, and I'll be honest and tell you if I think I can help you. The rentals work out, if you've got a family, it actually is a good deal to rent, because it works out cheaper than coming to see me, weekly, if you've got a whole family that wants to use it. Anyway, that's a side note. So yeah, I guess that's how you can get in touch with me. Just contact me and tell me where you are, and I'll try and find you somewhere. I'm happy to link you up with someone. And if I can't, then I'll try and find a solution somehow.
I love that. What a lovely offer. Thank you so much for your time today, Carlie. I always like to end on this question, which is, What is the one piece of advice you would give a mum who is just starting out in business based on your experience and what you've learnt in your journey so far?
Yeah. There's so many little tidbits, but honestly, I think something that I keep coming back to is just trust the process. For whatever reason you're in business, if you're passionate about it, there's no point worrying about, where the next client's going to come from, or worry does nothing. And so what I've found is in my time when I've been worried or, clenching to an outcome, if you can just let go and just let it go, then the answers come. The phone calls come, the opportunities come. And that would be my biggest piece of advice is just it's going to be okay, and just let go and just trust.
What a beautiful way to end up our conversation today. Thank you so much for your time today, Carlie. I really love learning about the neurofeedback system and how that's really helped you and your journey as a mum in business. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Thanks for joining me on Coffee, Clients and Nap Time. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mum who's ready to build their dream life. You can also join our Facebook page or Instagram to stay connected every day of the week. The link is in the show notes. Just remember, you've got this, and I'm here to help every step of the way.